Hi, Kerry here, host of Best of Us Investors. Over the last 2 days, I've given you a pretty detailed look as to what I think is going to happen in the genome sequencing and the genome editing space, and how I think my roughly $194,000 is going to turn into 20 million over the couple of years. And I've broken it down as to how I've come to that conclusion and how those numbers are going to relate to each of the companies. And basically, what I did was I said that based on what I have been read and what I have been told and what I understand, is the genome sequencing, the genome editing, the medical industry is going to turn into a somewhere between an 11 and $22 trillion industry, which would be equal to that of the digital industry, the digital economy. And then I assigned each one of my companies, the stocks that I own, a value based on that $11 trillion industry. And that comes up that my 194,000 will turn into 20 million. So I'm okay with that. I've asked you to join me to become a part of our tribe and help me monitor this as it's happening, because maybe I'm in the right companies or maybe someone else will emerge, and I've asked you for that help. So I'm comfortable that I'm in the right place, and if I live long enough, my roughly 200,000 will turn into 20 million. So I'm ready to move on. And as a part of that, I want to go back to how I've concluded that this is where I want to be invested, and how I believe that the market is driven by change. And so let's look back at this chart that I've shown you many times, how the digital revolution, the invention of the internet, then that came on to e-commerce and social media, and how EV, and now we're into the medical revolution, how all that has evolved as a result of change. And that change was implemented by events, the events that pushed us in that direction, and the companies that were thus born to give us the rewards of the change, which was brought about by events. So, and the event of the last 20 years was the invention of the internet. And we've thus progressed. Well, we're at what I think is another point of pivotal change, and it is going to spawn more opportunities for investment, and we need to be focusing on the industries that are going to evolve as a result of the change. Now, what is the change? Well, certainly one of the elements of change was the coronavirus, and that's spawning the healthcare revolution. Beyond that, we've had, and a part of the coronavirus, we're experiencing inflation, we're experiencing a change in interest rates, and we're experiencing a change as a result of Russia invading Ukraine. And then the real driver of the change is technology. I don't think people recognize how fast technology is changing the world, and what the ramifications are, and how you need to rethink how you invest. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. It took a while to get there. It took about 4 minutes to get there. Sorry about that. But that's what I want to talk about, the 12 industries that we need to be looking at in the coming months, years, and decades, that is going to rapidly change the world that we live in. It's not financial advice. This is sharing of knowledge, and it's not just my knowledge. I have a group of people that I work with. We call it the tribe, that we use at our Discord. I'll tell you more about that after I tell you that this is not financial advice.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Grinkmeyer.
Okay, what I've done is I've said, okay, I'm good with my $20 million I'm going to make off of the healthcare revolution. I've figured that out. I've been working on it for 18 months. I'm in the right place, and with a little bit of tweaking, it's going to happen. That's a given in my mind, okay? My 200,000 will turn into 20 million. Okay, so my question then becomes, recognizing that the world is changing more rapidly than it ever has. We used to have Moore's law that said, I believe it was every 18 months, the capacity of computing would double, and it is coming even faster. So I've looked at and I've said, okay, and a lot of this came from a book that I read about a year ago, and that is "The Future is Faster Than You Think." And I said, okay, it's now time to look and see what I learned in there, what I've learned subsequently that will give me some guidance for my next investments. I've created a list of the 12 industries that I think are going to change our world exponentially over the next 20 years. And then I'm going to solicit your help to find the companies that maybe I'm not aware of that are going to facilitate this change. And I want to share that with you, and then I want to solicit your help. So the number one is, of course, my genome editing and genome sequencing, which I think is going to be even accelerated more rapidly as a result of artificial intelligence. And I'm creating my number two industry of artificial intelligence. And this is going to be driven by companies like Google and with their efforts, and Amazon and NVIDIA, and that's going to be felt in the genome area. It's going to be felt in the Internet of Things. We know that artificial intelligence is going to drive our autonomous vehicles. And so what I'm trying to do here is just light your mind up as to be thinking of where I want to invest in the future based upon the change that is happening. Number three is cybersecurity. And this was probably number 9 until what happened with Russia and Ukraine. This has become a huge threat and there's going to be a lot of money spent on it, and companies like Palantir are going to be revitalized as a result of that. And artificial intelligence is going to again be a part of that, because this is going to be cyber warfare. We don't want to push that red button and launch our nuclear. So in order to harm somebody, or in order to bring somebody to our will, we are going to use cyber warfare. We're going to build the capability of shutting down their electric grid, shutting down their internet. So there's going to be a lot of money spent in this area, and we as investors need to keep that in mind and invest our money accordingly. The next one, number 4, is the Internet of Things. This has been kind of the 5G thing that was important and has become almost secondary, almost not a big thing anymore. But it is going to become, because again, autonomous automobiles and artificial intelligence are going to open new doors and new ways to make that a part of our world. 3D printing to produce spare parts. I just saw that who was it? Desktop Metals came out with a new 3D printer, and Black & Decker has put in some major orders for it because they've basically said, Black & Decker, I would assume that most of their tools and have been in the past made in China, and they're recognizing that part of the supply chain is broken, and we need to get into that. I'm reading a book right now that is giving me information on the work that is being done in printing 3D organs, and how by 2026 there will be no line for kidneys that or livers or even hearts and lungs, and how lungs are so difficult to transplant. But with 3D printing, that is going to become something of a changed world. That 3D printing is going to be a big part of manufacturing, again, to correct the supply chain and bring the supply chain back to the United States. And to level the playing field, because the differential cost in labor, 3D printing is going to be a major part of that. Robotics and drones will fall into that same category. So that would be number 6. These are the kind of places, if you don't want to be caught up in the short game of investing and playing against the professionals, as I call them, of Wall Street, these are the kind of things you need to be looking at and putting your mind to, and saying, okay, this is where I'm going to put my $200,000 that's going to turn into $60 million. Then another area that I'm getting involved in myself, and that is e-learning. E-learning is going to become our primary means of education. What do I mean by that? Universities are going to become a thing of the past. I mean, that just the nature of them, that you've got to pack up everything you've got and go park yourself on a campus and pay $50,000 a year to be taught by people who have not succeeded in the field that they want to teach you about. When you can be taught by the people who you are going to end up being employed by. And we're seeing this, that Microsoft is creating their own schools, and Google is creating their own schools to educate the people that they, in fact, want to employ. Even the car industry is creating their own education. I'm creating, from my knowledge, a real estate course. I will, once I get that done and get it presented, I will create a course on how to build a YouTube channel and create 7 areas of income off of that YouTube channel, or any means of digital teaching and sharing of knowledge. So we need to recognize that e-learning is going to be a major change in the way the world progresses. I mean, think of it this way. If I want to enter a course on entrepreneurship, who would I rather be taught by? Some 68-year-old who is at the University of XYZ? Or would I rather spend a 20-hour course with Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk? And which would I choose? And do it from the comfort of my home, and do it at my own time, and not have to pay for some bricks and mortar that is a thing of the past. E-learning is going to be the thing of the future. Then my number 8 is renewable energy. Look, the use of oil and coal and carbon fuels is dead. It's a zombie industry. We have all the energy we need delivered every day from the sun. We just need to learn how to harness it, put it in a battery in our garage the size of a refrigerator, and run our lives off of it. So I need to know who's going to be the companies that are going to, and again, I think it's as simple as magnifying the absorption of that energy from the sun through a lens made by Ball Jars, who makes the Hubble telescope lens, which was the university I went to, Ball State University, which was funded by Ball Jars. You get it? So renewable energy, whether it be solar, wind, and it's going to create the death of fossil fuels. We need to know that. The next industry, virtual reality and the metaverse, which is going to be a part of education, entertainment, medical, and manufacturing. These are things that are so evident, but aren't a part of what the price of stocks are going to be today and tomorrow. And if you choose to play that game, okay. Be aware you're playing against the best, and you're trying to compete with them as an individual. You can't win. Come on. No more than you can win playing the slot machines in Las Vegas. You may win once, but stop once you did. Then my number 10 industry of change, which is, and again is talked about in this book, is the sharing economy. Trust me, we aren't going to need that 2-car, 3-car, 4-car garage in the future. We're going to share our vehicles. I have said since I started this YouTube channel, two of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life was buy that Porsche and that BMW that sit in my garage. Between the two of them, I've got $200,000 worth of depreciating assets that I have to throw about another $15,000 a year at for gas and insurance and maintenance. That's stupid. Let somebody else buy that car and I'll just rent it for the 5% of my life that I need it. It just doesn't make sense. Even to the extent of this big house I own. I should share it. I don't want to live in the same place 12 months out of the year. So find somebody who wants to live in my Birmingham house and for 3 months, or I want to live at the beach for 3 months, in the mountains for 3 months, and then I want to go skiing for 3 months. So why should I own a home? Why don't I just share it? And that'll be a part of the coming world. Nanotechnology. This is basically taking and bringing things down to such a small thing that it will affect the medical industry, that I can put nanotechnology into my arm and it'll go through my body and find out what's wrong with my body and then deliver the change that has to happen to take the disease, the illness, whatever. Elon's got his company putting chips in the necks of pigs so that I can have actually a computer. I can have everything that my phone does now that I hold in my hand and look at it and put it in my neck. This is a part of the future. So I need to learn about that. And then blockchain. Blockchain is a part of all of it. That it's going to change our world, a world of finance. It's going to change the sharing economy. Our world is changing so damn rapidly as a result of the computer capability of accelerating everything. I think the easiest way to understand this is intelligence is what I've got in my head. Okay? That's me. That's mine. I own it. That's intelligence. What Google and what big data has done is it has given me the intelligence of many. I can literally ask my phone anything and it will give me the answer. Anything that I don't know, any piece of intelligence that I don't have. What is happening though with artificial intelligence is it's taking the intelligence of the world, of everybody in the world, and bringing it together and then giving it the ability to know everything that anybody knows. Nanotechnology will put that in my neck, and now I don't even need e-learning. It's already there. This is the world we live in. This is the world we're going to live in. We have the burden that we have been subjected to think on a day-to-day basis. It really doesn't matter. What matters is what's coming, rushing like a train down a track at us in the future. The little things that we deal with, like inflation and accelerating prices, and interest rates, and even Vladimir, they're insignificant. They're events that create opportunities for creating a better life. And that's where I want to invest. And that's where I want your help. This is the crazy part about this, is we used to have to travel this path by ourselves. I watch a series on TV that I think is the best thing I've seen in ages, and I think it's called 1883, and it's about the people on the Conestoga wagons trying to make it from Fort Worth, Texas, up to Oregon, and the day-to-day activities and the day-to-day trials and tribulations that they have to deal with. And that's what the world used to be about. And now that is comparable to what we're dealing with on a that's all in the past. It means nothing. That's comparable to what we're dealing with on interest rates, inflation, Jay Powell, Vladimir Putin. Those are day-to-day activities. They're meaningless when you look at the scope of what the world is about to go through. We will look back on this and say, wow, that was a big thing, but it really was minuscule relative to what's going to happen in the future. And that's what I want you to think, and that's what I want you to subscribe to. Whether it's with Best of Us Investors or something else, go on the internet and find a group of people that have a common interest and a common goal, and contribute to it and build on it. And what you will learn is they will open doors to you that you had no idea was available. What I have learned in the last year and a half through the digital economy and through the internet, I thought the end result was to get 1 million subscribers on YouTube. That is not the end result. First of all, that will never happen because the biggest viewers of YouTube are not my age. They are 15 to 25 years old, and they don't want to hear what a 77-year-old man has to say. They're not interested. I hope they would be, because I'd really like to help them. But if you have an interest in improving yourself, stop trying to do it by yourself. Join a community. And if what I'm talking about aligns with your goals, join our community. Come to Best of Us Investors. Share your ideas. Share your knowledge. Become part of artificial intelligence. It's what's going to rule the world. And if you want to be a part of it, all you got to do is get involved. All right. That's what I'm thinking about today. What are you thinking about today? Let's talk again tomorrow and explore this further.